Good evening, India. Hello and welcome. You're watching the Explosive Exclusive on Times Now. My name is Pranesh. With me is my colleague Meghana.
Well, thank you so much. Now, let's tell you first up on the bulletin how RSS has waded into the same-sex marriage debate and has backed the centre's stand on the issue in the top court as well. Putting its weight behind the centre, RSS General Secretary Dattatreya has said that marriages can only take place between two opposite genders.
That's right. He went on to elaborate on the stand and stated that marriage is an institution which is for the benefit of family and the society at large, not merely for enjoyment.
Marriages can take place between two opposite genders. ये मैंने पहले ही कहा था. I am on record on behalf of Sanघ. मैरिज का ये देखिए, मैरिज हिंदू जीवन दर्शन में विवाह जो है एक संस्कार है. इट इज नॉट एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट फॉर ओनली एंजॉयमेंट, नाइदर इट इज ए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. यह एक संस्कार है, षोडश संस्कार. उस संस्कार के अर्थ यह है टू इंडिविजुअल्स दे गेट मैरिड एंड लिव टुगेदर, लेकिन वो केवल अपने लिए नहीं है, वो एक परिवार बसाते हैं, वो समाज हित में होता है.
Well, in fact, in the Supreme Court, the centre has opposed the plea seeking legal validation of the same-sex marriages. In fact, in its affidavit in the top court, centre says that various laws refer to marriage between biological men and women, and any interference could cause complete havoc.
In fact, the centre's argument in the Supreme Court was that it held that the matter related to granting legal sanction to any relationship is essentially a function of the legislature. The centre urged the Supreme Court to leave the matter to the legislature to decide.
In fact, speaking on the centre's stand, Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju has called the institution of marriage a matter of policy. Listen in.
Government is not interfering into the personal life, personal activities of anybody. So there should be no confusion or there should be no dilution on this matter. When it comes to an issue related to the institution of marriage, then it is a matter of policy. Personal freedom and personal activities of individuals, of the citizens, are never been questioned, disturbed or regulated by government.
The petitioners, on the other hand, have argued that the right to marriage cannot be withheld from a class of persons on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identities. Citing the Navtej Singh Johar verdict which decriminalized homosexuality, they contended that the Supreme Court explained right to love as right that makes us humans.
In fact, citing the same verdict again, the petitioners have argued that the right to life includes dignity, right to family, marriage, as well as sexual orientation. Calling it a very seminal issue, the Supreme Court had referred the pleas to a 5-judge constitution bench. But the activists fighting for the marriage rights of LGBTQ community have expressed disappointment at the centre's stand, asserting that the community is constantly being discriminated against.
You all know that I am really disappointed because of the Government of India's stand for not supporting the marriage equality and marriage rights for sexual minorities, transgender and intersex people. I think I'm really disturbed with the decision of the Government of India. I think as communities, as human beings, we are being constantly discriminated on the grounds of our sex, gender and sexualities. And the society is so far from the truth to understand our identities, our existence, our sexualities, our sexual orientation. If that's the status of the society in 21st century, how do we even raise our voices to demand our justice?
Let's open it up. Mithun Vijay Kumar, political analyst, Ashwini Kumar Dubey, advocate of the Supreme Court, Ashok Kavi, LGBT rights activist, will be joining us shortly. So will be Harish Iyer, who is an equal rights activist. But good evening to you, both of you. Mr. Vijay Kumar, what do you make of what Dattatreya said today?
Hello?
Yeah, if you can hear me, that was for you.
Okay, yes. So see, the concept of family itself is a traditional thing. And when you're introducing something like a same-sex marriage, that's like showing a disrespect towards tradition and the culturally accepted norms. So nobody is saying here that, same-sex couples shouldn't be living together or their rights are denied, or nobody is objecting to any of the things. But when it comes to the marriage part, that itself is a traditional concept, and why mess with that? Why do you have to, why does the same-sex couple have to get married to, ensure that there is some kind of a dignity that they are talking about? The dignity can be ensured other ways also. Why do you have to mess with the traditionally accepted concept is what I am asking. And to amend the existing law or to, legislate a new law on this, it's definitely a prerogative, a right of the center itself and not the Supreme Court. So
here's the problem, Ashwini Kumar Dubey, if I can come to you, here's the problem. Because although you may be contending that this is the way it has always been, these are the traditional views and our values, there were several things which change in a law as the society progresses as well. There was a time when sati was being carried out, there was child marriage which had happened, there were dowry cases, but over time law had to evolve with the society. Why shouldn't this be yet another progressive next level step for the law?
Indeed, we live in a society which is evolving each and every day. But there are certain other things which is out of the domain of the court. One, it is not only the recognition of the marriage. How will you deal with if suppose both the couples are not able to live together? Who will decide that which court? Offense under section 377 of the IPC. But the thing remains the thing. It should be left open to the legislature to decide the modus, the manner, and also keeping in view the various aspects such as degree of prohibited relationship, conditions of marriage, ceremonial and ritual requirements under personal laws governing the individuals, and if marriage is to be solemnized and registered under any personal law, requirement for registration. If marriage is to be registered under a special marriage act, then how will you deal with the restitution of conjugal rights? Then the judicial separation.
No, I understand. I am sure all of this will come up now that the Supreme Court has referred this to a constitution bench. Harish Iyer is now back on the panel. Harish, good evening. What do you make of, I'm sure you know what RSS's Dattatreya Hosable has said. He says that this is not our Sanskar.
I think accepting people who are different, accepting people who are really different, even if they happen to be one person who is different from us, is our sanskar. That is in fact enshrined in our constitution, and even in our schools and colleges we have learned about unity in diversity, where we are a pluralistic society where we respect and love people who are different, and that's why it's quite surprising that this comes from somebody who is an ideologue, because India is a country which accepts and loves everybody, just doesn't tolerate people but also accepts people despite the fact that they're different. We are a pluralistic nation.
Mithun Vijay Kumar, would you like to come in? India is all about oneness and inclusivity. Then why discriminate based on their gender orientations? But more importantly, why should the legislation even be looking into it? Why should the executive even be looking into it? After all, this is the same government which belongs and believes in uniform civil code, that religion should not play a part when it comes to this. And today, this is the same government which is also citing the personal law boards to try and say that this is unagreeable to them as the center, as the executive.
That to me, there's some trouble with the audio.
Mr. Vijay Kumar, that's for you.
Yes, okay. See, I think the center is only trying to point out the technical difficulties in including this in the Special Marriage Act, and I don't think there is anything wrong in that, because as the lawyer also mentioned, how are you going to deal with certain provisions in the law when it comes to same-sex couple? How will you deal with
uniform civil code? They do not even want a Muslim personal law board. They have already said that very categorically, that it should all be uniform.
Can you please come again?
I was saying that this is the same government which has contended that it should be a uniform civil code, and then we'll have to wait and decide as to who really...
I am trying to say. That's what even I am trying to say. Because when uniform civil code was tried to implement here, we had so many issues, and those were basically tagged to the cultural beliefs.
Let's see what the Supreme Court Constitution bench decides. I thank all of you. Completely out of time on this one. Mithun Vijay Kumar, Ashwini Dubey, Harish Iyer, thanks for joining us. Taking a quick break.